Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. It is me once again screaming into the void of the internet. You know, interestingly enough, I got something I kind of want to talk about. And as you can see by the title, a coworker asked me for some advice about ladies. And it's rather interesting to me because, I'm not a tall person or anything like that, but he does like my advice and my input on things mainly because I don't hold anything back, Don't think that like how I am on here is not how I am in the real person, like how I like switch up and stuff like that. Nah, I don't really try and live a duplicitous life. There are certain comments that I say here that I obviously can't say in, say, the workplace, considering that it's HR and all that bullcrap, but when it's just the boys and stuff like that, oh yeah, I exactly how I am here, that's how I am, with them. I do not hold anything back. But what he essentially asked was this girl that like he was talking with was like progressively like showing like like boob pics and shit like that, right? And so he asked me, uh, what's going on here? And I was like, a lot of people might see that as like a sign that this generation's like crazy or something. They don't know what obvious interest is. And I was like, no, 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 no. There's always more to it than meets the eye. And I was like, well, he talked about like what he was talking to her about a little bit, and he was talking about his like future and plans and how he invests, because he actually invests, which is a good thing. He's like a young kid. He's like 19 right now, right? He's 19. He's out of school. He's in college, and he's talking about his investments, and he's talking to her about investments. Because all he talks about is like a lot of financing, which is good for him. If he wants to like make it in that field, then it's good for him to like gather all the knowledge that he can right now. But because he mentioned that, I was like, and you mentioned this to the girl, and he's like, yeah. I was like, well, think about it, bro. She sees that you have a mind for finances and investing. So she might be trying to secure, you know, a place in your life to an extent, you know. And even if it's just like right now and only temporal, she'll try and get whatever resources she can out of you. Because unfortunately, a lot of guys are going to see stuff like that and they'll just jump and go like, oh, she's really interested in me. I'm like, not necessarily. She might be interested to see what she can get out of you. Because a lot of stuff when it comes down to them, just being completely real, it's very manipulative. It's very, what can I get out of you? And even if I could like squeeze pennies out of you, I'm gonna take the pennies and then go. Because I find it very odd that people assume that just because someone's like talking to you, they give you the hey big head text, that you think that it's like interest. It's not interest. Listen, if it was interest and they've known you for a while, why now? Why does it take so long, right? As I've said this before, guys, like one of my exes, essentially, like she gets out the freaking psych ward. One of the first things she does is ask me, like, try and buy her food and crap like that. It's retarded. I checked on her because, like I said, it wasn't like a bad terms thing. It's not like we talk regularly, but I don't necessarily just want people like to be in freaking psych wards and stuff like that. So check on her, and she's trying to weasel her way back. I was like, no, I shut that down immediately. Why? Because at the end of the day, I've lived that life, guys. I'm sorry, but way too many people in this space make it seem like taking care of a woman is like this like amazing thing, and it's like I really wonder if you've ever actually had a girlfriend, because I'm being honest, it's just responsibility. It's unnecessary, retarded responsibility. It is a grown adult that feels as though even if they're working for themselves, right? You're supposed to just be buying them this just excessive crap for no reason. For no reason. And that's all it really is. Like, and no matter how much people want to get mad at that, even these cocksuckers that want to try and say how you're not a real man for doing it, they'll say stuff like, oh, I'll be more than happy if you bought me a drink, or I'd be happy if you covered the bill. Like, they don't understand what they're doing when they say that stuff. They just want you to be a pack mule. And like I said, like I mentioned before, like in a previous video, like one comment said that he was married and he knew that his wife didn't love him, but he stayed there anyway. And he said, because for him, something's better than nothing. I'm like, I'm not ever going to be with somebody that doesn't actually appreciate the stuff that I do. I don't care how much you might feel like, your legacy magines and all that bullcrap. Because respectfully speaking, you can have kids right now, but if they turn forgots, then what the hell did you do with your legacy? Like it's legacy can get wiped out pretty easily these days, even without like going to like war. All it takes is this soy society convincing your kids to like chop off their genitals or some bullcrap, and now guess what happens to your legacy? Presto, gone. So I don't really care about the whole legacy on nonsense. I am never going to just be with someone just because the world feels as though there is a certain path that I'm supposed to follow in life. And so what I try and do is I advise others to do the same. And I'm rather surprised that that guy feels comfortable enough with me to ask me for advice on stuff. That feels odd. Because it's not like I'm some old guy or anything. Yeah, I'm like 7 years older than him, but still, it's just pretty funny to me. But I digress. Like unfortunately, someone has to tell these guys. Someone has to tell them because their moms aren't going to tell them. Their dads usually aren't going to tell them. So you need to be the one to tell them because there's a lot at risk. And I don't want people, especially guys, getting into positions where they get screwed over because someone plays with their heart. And now they're in a position where, especially in this economy, they're like screwed. Like one of my other coworkers, not the same one that I mentioned, like I mentioned before, like he's paying $800 in child support out of each paycheck. And like, bro, I can't imagine that. 800 with each paycheck? Like what the heck do you even have left over? But you calling this out and holding this cancerous system accountable, people want to get angry at you. Nah, dude, I refuse with all that crap. I refuse, I will always, always, always prioritize myself and stuff like that. I will always prioritize myself. But personally, I'm just gonna say this, like, and I know that I mentioned this a lot because I told him like point blank simple, like, my thoughts on love is like a series of decisions and responses to decisions. Like, it's not always convenient for you to look out for this person, but you do because you hope that how they've treated you now will remain consistent enough to warrant being with them even when it's not convenient, Because with guys, we're simple, right? Like, I live in a room, I have like simple food and stuff like that. Now, that's going to change in the future because I'm going to learn how to cook more, but I'm like never home because I'm at the wage cage. But I am content in this room, like with like no TV and stuff like that. You really think a gal would be happy living like this? Just like watching videos on the phone and stuff like that, no TV, not that much furniture in here. No, no, no. She'd be pissed. How do I know? Because I've had sisters. I've had 5 sisters, bro. Like, the way that I can live, they don't like that stuff. They don't like that. They love access. And the world knows that. Governments know that. That's why they cater to them. To be honest, the basic way that I can put it is, yes, we are all consumers, but the net consumer, by a mile, are females. It's not even close. It is not even close. And I mean, I can just give you a little bit of an instance. Let's just say in appearance, right? I understand why, like, someone may want to go to a salon or something because, like, it's hard to do your own hair to an extent, right? I don't do my hair, so, I go to usually family members so that they can do my hair. So I understand, like, why someone would go to a salon. But when people are trying to make it seem like paying $300 for a simple hairstyle, like maybe curls or something like that, is a good deal, uh, yeah, that's ridiculous. And they call it spoiling themselves. I call it spoiling your freaking bank account. Same with the nails. My mother, what she would do, and I always wondered why other women didn't do this, is like she had this like nail kit, right? Where it's like the filer like almost resembled a drill, not exactly. It's like it had attachments and like it had something for like buffing, something for like filing, and polishing. And when she decided to do her nails, right? She would like, file the nails and all that good stuff, buff them, polish them, and then take like this little thing. I think it was called like clear or something. I know quite a bit about like nail stuff and hair stuff because when you have sisters, you're going to see a whole bunch of makeup, right? And she'd do it herself. And all that really cost her was like, like the nail kit and stuff. So that she paid for that like what one time. It lasted her for several years, and then it was just a matter of, like, buying the polish and stuff like that. I mean, she didn't do this all the time because she didn't really like paint her nails like nail color. She liked them looking shiny. And I was like, if somebody gets their nails done, like, that's gonna be like insane amounts of money compared to, like, say, the $20 that that little nail kit costs, combined with, like, maybe, occasional, I guess, monthly expenses for, like, polishes and stuff like that. Like, why is someone thinking that it's a good idea to go to a salon and spend like $60+ on average to get, like, your nails done? I don't understand. But again, the world understands, and they understand that men are so. I guess that they feel like their entire identity is only in serving a woman, that when they don't have that, they feel like their life's meaningless. And society hopes that that's how you feel, so that they can get money out of you by you giving money to her. Like, Caesar's getting your cash either way. Like, when you give it to her, she just gives it to him. Like, it's pretty retarded to me. It really is. But I digress. It's like, I personally just cannot see myself, even bothering these days, because to me, the amount of hassle that you have to put up with for supposed regular access to sex, or somebody to, cuddle up at the end of the night with it, that's just not worth it. It's really not worth it. There aren't enough people out there that are decent to warrant the filth that you have to swim through. Because I'm really sick of people saying that, oh, well, everyone's not like that. Of course, genius. Everyone is not like that. Enough of them are. Just because there is a pearl at the bottom of the freaking lake in an in an oyster shell, does not mean that you should have to dig through freaking radioactive sewage. It doesn't matter. The risk is not worth the reward, especially when the risk stands of, even if you're not married, like child support, freaking false charges of SA. Like, no, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. That's why I don't participate in it. I understand why others participate, and I will try and advise them when they do to, just be careful and prioritize yourself, which is why, I do feel like that's nice that he feels comfortable enough to talk to me about that. And I will advise him and continue to do so. It's not that I'm going to try and tell him to, like, live like me. I don't plan on doing that. Because I always tell him that at the end of the day, it is your decision to make. I never try and take autonomy from people. If they ask me for something, I give my input, but it is up to the individual. I never really enjoy trying to, choose for someone. Because some people like to try and make you choose for them, and I've never really enjoyed that. Because I'm not you, I don't know what's best for you. But I do know that what's best for you is not servitude. I do know what's best for you is not being in a position that puts you at a disadvantage and puts another person at this freaking unnecessary narcissistic apex of the center of attention in your life. And you don't want that. You don't want that. Way too many guys think that that's what they have to do because it's expected of them, and that's not. It's not, dude. You got to decide for yourself what's going to make you get out of bed in the morning, but I can assure you that serving somebody, as somebody who has done it essentially, like with the couple of girlfriends I have, that didn't help me. It really didn't. Having someone just basically take advantage of you and see you as a means to an end and whatnot, and then be talking to other people, that's not something that you're interested in, guys. It really isn't. I'm not telling you can't go out and date or anything. I don't really care what you do. I'm just saying, don't sit around here and wallow in self-pity thinking that because I'm not in a relationship that everyone else, because I see them together, is in a good relationship. That's not how that works. The public perception of people is always, well, different. Let's be real. People are usually, more often than not, on better behavior in public. They're not always going to be on perfect behavior, but they're on better behavior because they see the self-image, right? And let's be real, we all have faces for different things. Do you really think that if you work at a store and you're told to say hello to everybody, that you actually really give a rat's arse? Come on now, let's just be real. If you're a greeter or a cashier, when you say have a good day, do you really mean that? Be honest with yourself, so it's just about taking that into consideration. But I know this was pretty short. But I kind of wanted to share that because, I don't know, I felt that that was pretty odd that my coworker just felt, comfortable enough to ask me that. So, well, feels odd. I don't know. But know that this was odd, kind of out of nowhere. But as per usual, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are hanging in there. Things are going pretty well, folks. It's nice to be going okay. Paid my rent ahead of time. I'm gonna go shopping, get some groceries soon. I think this month I'm going to try and like get a whole bunch of like protein things. I'm gonna try and get like those resistance bands I've been mentioning for a while. But I'll wait till my next paycheck to get it. Because I'm gonna go shopping, and then once my next paycheck comes, that's like I only try to buy things when I'm gonna get a new paycheck. Like I don't really like digging into the money that I have because I'm mainly trying to save. The things that I'm buying now, like you could consider them like luxury items, but I think the resistance bands and essentially like it's just basically like a whole bunch of like stuff you can like do different workouts with, like pull ups, sit ups, crunches, with resistance bands. I think that's basically just an investment for my health because I think that as usual, your health is your wealth. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not really spending money luxuriously and stuff like that. I'm still mainly saving, but it's going well, guys. Like I said, it's nice to know that when you say that you're okay, you're actually doing okay. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't have any issues that I worry about, but as per like the peace and stuff like that, yeah, it's still a bit I don't know, it's eerie. It's eerie to have it when for all your life you don't really even remotely think you'll have it. So I don't know. I'll just go ahead and end it there, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all for listening as per usual. God bless. I will see you guys next time.